Bhagwan, do you ever get sad?
Really a tough question. Yes and no. Yes, I get sad for you and for the world in which you are living. You are not aware that you are amidst a vast madhouse. You are so fast asleep. You don't know what is being done to you, to others. And the politicians make me sad because they are the ugliest animals on the earth. Continuously lying to people, exploiting people, humiliating people. The last election in America, the governor had a secret meeting of all the top officials of his government. The Attorney General was there, Norma Powell was there, and everybody who means anything. They did not allow the journalists inside. And you go on still calling this a democratic country? They were deciding my people, but they did not allow any of my people to be present there. And the governor came out and gave a press conference in which he completely lied. What has happened inside and what he said outside are completely contradictory. To the press conference, he said, things are normal. There is no need to be afraid. Everything is in control. We are trying. The Rajneeshis to calm down. I don't know how he was trying to calm us down. He never came here. He never sent a message to us. Does he think he is a magician? He was calming us down. And he said he is trying the opposite people not to get too hot. Inside, everything was different. Now the confidential file has been found. He was thinking it has been burned. But in this world, impossible things also happen. Now we know what has happened inside the meeting. There was no question of calming down, no question of creating peace. On the contrary, they were deciding how much it will take our army to reach Rajneeshpuram to destroy it completely. They had decided to put the army on alert. So any movement within 3 hours they have to destroy my people. Of course, in a way it is calming down. If you are not there, there will be calm. It has been calm here in this place for many decades. But that calmness was death. There was only one house. And there was only one family to look after this big place. It is 126 square miles, 3 times bigger than New York. Of course, it was calm. There were no birds to sing. There were no trees to blossom. It was a dead place. We made it alive. Now birds have started coming. Nature has a tremendous harmony. When there are so many people loving, singing, dancing, birds have started coming to this place. Flowers have started blossoming. But it is not noisy. It is not hot in his sense. You cannot find a cooler place in the whole world. Of course, the sun is hot, but that is not our fault. but the place is cool, calm. There is no disturbance. In these 4 years, there has been not a single fight. But they want to destroy this calmness. They would love to have a dead place. The serenity of a cemetery. There is serenity in a garden too. Do you think birds singing, flowers moving in the air disturb anything? They make the silence deeper, meaningful. Silence in itself is meaningless unless it has the potentiality of a sound. Unless it has something in it to blossom, something in it to grow. In the inside they decided that the army should be put on alert, and the army was put on alert. And they were ready in 3 hours to destroy this place, these people. Of course, we would have died singing and dancing. We would have made a history. But these people make me sad. And they are in power. And they go on lying. Now what do you call it? Is it not a conspiracy to tell to the people that everything is normal? Then why the army is on alert? And what crime we have committed that we have to be destroyed? Just the other day, the information came to me that whenever in California there is a boxing match, the University of California has been researching about it, and they have found that whenever there is a boxing match in California, the murder rate for few days goes 13% higher than normal. And this is the murder rate. It says nothing about small fights, people wounded, rapes. Still, boxing continues to be legal. This place is illegal, where nobody fights. People come close only to hug each other. This small life and this beautiful life is not to be wasted in fighting. That's why I say yes. Sometimes it makes me sad. When I look around the world, we are exactly in the same economic situation as the world was before the Second World War. The American dollar was going higher and higher, and all other countries' economies were falling apart. This is the atmosphere when war becomes absolutely necessary. When I was in India, the dollar was 7.5 rupees worth. Now it is 20 rupees worth. 3 times higher. The same is the situation in Germany, in England, in Holland, all over the world. The same was the situation before the Second World War. You cannot live in an ocean of poverty, economies failing, nations going bankrupt. All over the world, people are dying and starving. Sooner or later, this euphoria of American dollar will backfire. It will become an absolute necessity to start the Third World War, to divert people's minds %75% of every nation's income goes for war preparations. People are starving and dying, and you are creating bombs. The bread is needed, not the bombs. Cannot you see the insanity? Is not there a single nation who can declare that we are going to stop creating nuclear weapons at the risk of being defeated? In any way, a country like England, which has lived for 300 years in great luxury, exploiting the whole world, now the empire has disappeared. England is dark, dismal. There is no hope. And still they are putting all their resources in creating nuclear weapons, knowing perfectly well that they can never be again a world power. They cannot compete with America or Soviet Union or even China. When you are not going to be a world power, even with nuclear weapons you will be defeated and destroyed. Then what is the point to create those weapons? In fact, it is such a beautiful situation that you can dissolve all defense measures. You can stop having a defense ministry. There is no need. You will be defeated in any way. But what to say about England, even India, who is dying, but goes on and on creating more and more war material. They are also after nuclear weapons. In the history of man, there has been never such a beautiful moment when some courageous nation can say that there is no need for any defense. We are all human beings. Who is going to attack us? And do you see the cunningness? All these defense departments are not really for defense, they are for attack. Adolf Hitler attacked the world, but he had no department for attack. It was defense department that was attacking. But the world will be going more and more into darker spaces and ditches. But nobody is ready to listen. Their minds are conditioned so deeply that they are almost deaf. They hear, but they don't listen. Just I heard one clergyman from Europe is here. He loves me. He has been coming to all the celebrations. But because I said something about Mother Teresa, he became very upset. This makes me sad. Why he became so upset? Can't he understand a simple thing, that Mother Teresa is helping poverty to increase in the world? And poverty ultimately means war. he said that his 4 girlfriends. Is strange, a clergyman having 4 girlfriends, even I cannot afford. And nobody is there to prevent me. I am my own master. I don't accept any orders from anybody. Four girlfriends of his has been to Mother Teresa, and they all said that she is a nice woman. So what? There are millions of nice women, far more nicer than Mother Teresa. And I have not said that she is not nice. Why you get upset? Yes, she is a nice old witch. Now get upset and pack your luggage and go back. Your love for me was of no worth. This makes me sad. In these 30 years, thousands of people have come along with me. They will go a few steps and then drop away. They had the potential. They had the courage. Otherwise, even to go a few steps with me towards the unknown is difficult. But after a few steps, why they dropped out? Something I said disturbed them. But they are not aware. It is not their consciousness which is disturbed. It is their conditioning which gets upset, disturbed. Are you going to listen to awareness or to all kinds of rubbish that rabbis, bishops, popes, mothers and fathers have forced into your head when you were very small and vulnerable? I sometimes feel surprised why you call Mother Teresa mother, and why you call Pope father. Popa in Italian means father. Instead of calling him Pope, start calling him Popa. That sounds better. You call the Pope father who has no children. You call Mother Teresa mother who has no children. Let these two get married. And put them on pills. Because we don't want their progeny. Enough is enough. Existence does not make me sad. My own inner being for 3 decades has never felt a single moment of sadness for myself. I have completely forgotten the strategy how to be sad. But what goes on happening around in the world? Just brings tears to my eyes. This world is not worth saving. Once in a while, I think it will be better a third world war happens and destroys this whole stupid humanity. Perhaps there is a time a thing gets so rotten that it is better to burn it. Consciousness is eternal. Even if this earth becomes without human beings, I don't see any problem in it. There are at least 50,000 planets in the earth where life exists. Your consciousnesses will move into other planets. Nothing is destroyed. Only this ugly earth, these ugly politicians, priests, they will be finished. This makes me sad. Man on the earth has the highest quality of consciousness, and yet his behavior is barbarous. And everything that you call civilization is just a word. Once a man asked George Bernard Shaw, "What do you think about civilization?" He said, "It is a good thing, but it has not happened yet." What the religions go on doing around the world makes me sad. They go on making you more and more idiotic. Their basis is faith. They force every child to be faithful, a believer, and if possible to be a fanatic believer. You will find all kinds of fanatics around. Even if you don't want to be delivered, you don't want to be saved, they will force you to be saved. There are Christian sects who are self-appointed saviors. Who gives you the authority to save another? And are you certain that you are saved? Your face, your eyes does not give any proof of it. You look angry. Even a nice man like Jesus was an angry man. Who gave him the authority to beat the money changers in the temple of Jerusalem and throw them out? Self-appointed judges. He wanted to save the world. He could not save himself. And he has left an ugly heritage which goes on growing like a canceric growth. Destroying everything that can raise you to beauty, to truth, to silence, to ecstasy. I have never seen a Christian ecstatic. Even Jesus was not ecstatic. He was burdened. And continuously having hallucinations. Now, thinking oneself as the only begotten Son of God, do you think the man was sane? Thinking that he is the only real messenger bringing truth to humanity. Do you think this man is mentally healthy? He is utterly sick. And all Christians are sick. But it is not only the Christians. The Hindus are in the same boat. The Mohammedans are in the same boat. their names and their theologies and their scriptures are different. But the basic madness is there. They are all hallucinating. Your religions are nothing but opium. Drugs are prohibited, and the greatest drug is your religions. They should be abandoned, completely abandoned, if we want man to get rid of hallucinations. Otherwise, people are hallucinating that soon they will reach to heaven and all the angels will be there dancing and singing Alleluia. There is no heaven and there are no angels. Heaven is a state of consciousness. It is not a place. It is not part of geography. Otherwise, there will be very much confusion. In India, if you ask the Hindus, where is the hell? They say, just under us, deep down. But if you make a hole from India deep down, you may enter Oregon. And the heaven is above. But the earth is round. Everything is above. And everything from some angle, some place is below. The Hindus' hell is your heaven. Your heaven is Hindu's hell. And you go on listening to these people. And you go on absorbing their nonsense in you. It is sheer poison. The politicians, the priests make me sad. They are all programming your mind and changing it into a computer, a mechanism. My work here is to deprogram you, whether you get upset or not. I don't care. You will get upset because deprogramming is upsetting. You have believed a certain thing for 50 years, 60 years, and suddenly I say that it is nonsense. You cannot accept it because that means 60 years you have been a stupid guy. But if you have guts and intelligence, it is still time to get out of the rut. I am and my religion is nothing but the science of deprogramming. And remember, don't get mixed up with the deprogrammers that exist in California. They are not deprogrammers. They are reprogrammers. Any Christian moves away from Christianity, his parents become paranoid. They force the person to those so-called deprogrammers. They don't deprogram him. They reprogram him. He was escaping from Christianity, they bring him back to Christianity. You call it deprogramming. Deprogramming means you are simply left without any program. You are left without any religion. You are left without any theology. You are left alone to be yourself, an individual. People go on asking me, how many followers you have? I have not a single follower in the whole world. Because my whole work is to destroy followers and to create courage in people so they can stand on their own and be individuals. It makes me sad that you are not individuals. Somebody is a Christian, somebody is a Hindu, somebody is a Mohammedan, somebody is a Buddhist. You are not individuals. You are blind followers, programmed by other blind followers. But as far as I'm concerned, there is no sadness in me. Day and night, I am in absolute bliss. That also makes me sad that what is possible for me, an ordinary individual like you, why it cannot be possible for all? I do not claim any speciality. I do not claim that I am the only begotten Son of God. I do not proclaim that I am the prophet bringing fresh message from God. All these prophets, messengers, avataras are just holy shit. Of course, It has been clinging to you so long that when I start hitting you hard so that this holy sit drops, you get upset. I can understand, but I cannot stand it.
Bhagwan, please comment on this statement by John P. Markan. I fear the contented man. I fear him because there is no progress unless there is discontent.
I do not care whose statement is this. One thing I know, that discontent certainly makes you speedy. You go on running your whole life. You become just a vehicle that goes on moving faster and faster. But for what? I do not call it progress. You may have all the money of the world. Still you will be running after the money. You may have all the knowledge and still you will be running after more knowledge. Because in every dimension there is infinite space to run. I have heard a man and his wife were flying in a plane. The man was piloting. The plane was going with full speed. The wife asked, "Where we are going?" The man said, "Don't bother where. Look at the speed. We are going certainly somewhere." Discontent is another name of inferiority complex. Discontent means you look around, people have this, people have that, and you don't have it. You are not discontented, but just seeing that somebody has it, you become discontented. You start feeling inferior. You have to surpass it. You have to go ahead. This continuous going ahead is called progress. It is not progress. And this kind of progress begins even before your birth. When a man makes love to a woman, the living cells that he releases into the woman's body start running. Progress begins there. Because in a single love-making, millions of living cells are released. They must have been feeling imprisoned in the man. Whenever they get the chance, they go fast. You cannot understand how fast, because they are so small you cannot see with your eyes. And the passage between them and the female egg, in proportion to their size, is almost 2 miles. And their life is very short. They are almost on their deathbed. Because they can live only 2 hours, not more than that. In those 2 hours, those tiny cells have to run 2 miles with millions of competitors. And only one will reach to the female egg. Sometimes it happens 2 reach at the same time. That's why twins are born. Because once the female egg opens and receives a male cell in it, it closes. And all those millions progressive people simply die. If your love making is counted, you have been murdering millions of people your whole life. And don't think that the celibate monks are not murdering. They die in imprisonment. At least you give them a little freedom, a little democracy. A little chance to progress. The celibate monk, Catholic or Hindu, does not allow those poor people to get out of his body. Yoga has methods how to go on preventing them from getting out of you. They go on dying within you because you are eating, you are getting nourishment, and it is a natural process. The body goes on. The body knows no religion. The body goes on doing its function. It is programmed by nature, not by any priest. It will go on creating new blood cells. It will go on creating new semen cells. It will go on creating everything that the body needs. But when new living semen cells are created, the old has to die and vacate the place. The new ones have come. The new generation has come and the old generation has to go. There is not much space for all of them to coexist. When you think of progress, it starts from your love making, a mad race. And where you end with a woman. Great. Just great. And then the whole life, it is the same story. People are running for power. People are running for money. People are running for respectability. People are running for everything you can imagine. And where they end up, even if you reach to the last rung of the ladder, there is no such thing. Just for argument's sake, I am saying, even if you reach to the last rung of ladder, what you will do then? I remember I was driving and a dog started following my car, chasing, hard, really progressive, very discontented. But he was not acquainted with me. He must have chased other cars. I stopped the car. The poor dog was huffing. His tongue was hanging out. I stopped the car and asked the dog, "What now?" "What do you want?" And the way the dog looked at me, Ronald Reagan will also look in the same way. Even if you become the president of a country or a prime minister of a country, so what? You call it progress? It is obsession with speed. And discontent brings conflict because it brings competition. If you are running, others are also running. There is going to be competition. There is going to be cutthroat competition. Hence all these wars. The Polak Pope is reaching to the Christians around the world with the message that drop your antagonism with the Jews. The Christians cannot understand. For 2000 years they have been killing Jews. When Adolf Hitler killed almost 1 million Jews in Germany, the high priest of Christians in Germany blessed him. He has done a great religious act by removing these Jews. For 2000 years they have been killing Jews because Jews killed Jesus. And nobody bothers about that Jesus was a Jew. He was not a Christian. It is none of your business. If Jews want to kill another Jew, it is their internal affair. Jesus never claimed that he is a Christian. If he had claimed that he is a Christian, he would not have been crucified. Then who bothers? Jews were upset because he was saying he is their Lord. That he comes from God just as Moses, Abraham, Ezekiel, and other prophets have come. And in a way he is higher than all those prophets because they were only postmen, nothing much. He is the only begotten Son. This Jew naturally was going to be killed by the Jews. But they killed a Jew, they never killed a Christian. Christians have been killing Jews. I don't see the mathematics of it. And now, after 2000 years, it happens in a Polak mind which are known all over the world. that anything like mind does not exist in them. They are empty bottles of alcohol. If you are a cannibal and you eat a pollock, you will know what I mean. Just a little taste of a pollock and you will go unconscious. This pollock pupa is trying to create a bridge, a communication with the Christians. Why? These things are not religious. These things are political. They created after the Second World War a Jewish nation, Israel. Jews think Americans, British and other allies who were all Christian have done a great favor to them. It is not so. It was a very cunning strategy. Israel is the holy land of the Jews and also the holy land of the Christians. It has not been in existence for centuries because the population is Mohammedan. There was no Israel before 1945. There used to be a nation, Palestine, which is no more anywhere, simply disappears. Christians could have taken possession of Israel, but they were aware that if they take possession of Israel, then Jews will be against them all over the world. And Israel is surrounded by Mohammedans. The whole Middle East is Mohammedan. Israel itself is full of Mohammedans. It will create a conflict, a war, a continuous war between Christians on one side and Jews and Mohammedans on another side. In fact, Mohammedanism is closer to Judaism than Christianity. Much of Mohammedanism is borrowed from Judaism. To avoid this situation, Jews against them, and the politicians could not do that, because if the Jews are against the Christians, then who is going to donate for their election funds? It would have been disastrous, particularly in America. Because all these politicians in America are supported by Jewish money. And it was in the hands of America, because American forces were there in Israel to hand over the country to anybody, either to Christians or to Mohammedans or to Jews. It was a Mohammedan country, and it would have been right to give it back to them. But Christians are against Mohammedans for a very simple thing. That's why I say this whole world needs to be finished. A very small problem. Mohammedans accept Jesus as a prophet of God, but not as a son of God. And they are very logical about it. Where is the wife? There is nobody else than the Holy Ghost. And nobody knows about Holy Ghost to what sex he belongs. Is he male? Certainly Christians cannot accept that he is female, because to raise woman so high that she becomes part of Trinity, the highest in existence, Holy Ghost has to be a male, but that makes God a homosexual. And homosexuals don't produce children. Then Jesus' whole position becomes very strange. Hence, Mohammedans say Jesus is a prophet, a messenger of God, but not a son of God. God has no relatives. This is the only difference, and Christians and Mohammedans have been killing each other for 1400 years. These things should be laughed at, not fought for. They could not give it to Mohammedans. The country was Mohammedan. It has been under Mohammedans for a long time. They could not keep it to themselves, because that will create two enemies, Jews and Mohammedans. They found a very political and cunning way. They gave it to Jews. In that way, they created a bridge between Jews and Christians, a friendship. Avoided one enemy, the Jews, avoided the other enemy, the Mohammedans, and very cleverly put Jews in such a bad condition that they will have continuously to fight with the Mohammedans. Nobody can see any end, because the country is Mohammedan, belong to Mohammedans. It is forcibly given to Jews. This gave a very good opportunity for American Christians to have more donations from Jews, and a very good situation. They need not kill Jews. Mohammedans will kill them. Can you see the strategy? So beautiful, so sophisticated. Mohammedans will kill them. They have been killing them. On the one hand, on the other hand, Jews will always remain dependent on Christian countries. Jerusalem, Israel are not independent. If America stops giving support to them, they will be finished within minutes. They have to remain under American control. Israel is nothing but a slave country of the Christians. And it will have to remain, otherwise Mohammedans will kill it. American politicians have done a good job. Jews think they have been favored. That is nonsense. They have been put in such a fix that they will never be out of it. And Christians have made a great step of absorbing them. That has been the desire of Christianity, to absorb the whole world. This hand of friendship is not a hand of friendship. It is a hand that wants to destroy you. Jews are in tremendous discontent. Mohammedans are in tremendous discontent. Christians are in tremendous discontent. Whoever has said that discontent is needed for progress, humanity has been in discontent for as back as you can imagine. What progress has happened? Yes, you have better roads. You have better machines. You have high technology. But you don't have a better man. And your high technology, your nuclear weapons, your so-called good roads, beautiful buildings, without a good man, are just dangerous. Not only useless, very dangerous. It is giving a naked sword into the hands of a child. Man remains retarded. And he is being given nuclear weapons. I have heard when Ronald Reagan became the President of America, he was on a morning walk on a beach with his favorite friend, a chimpanzee. Great progress is happening. Chimpanzees are friends of presidents. One man sitting there on the beach was very much puzzled. He said, "President, sir, am I hallucinating? What this chimpanzee is doing with you?" And Reagan said, "You are not hallucinating. He is my friend." That man said, "I am not asking you. I am asking the president. Don't interfere." In the First World War, for the first time, psychoanalysts were employed by the governments to know the intelligence quotient, IQ, of the soldiers. And it was a shock that average man's mental age remains nearly close to 14 years. He may be 70 years old, but his mental age is not more than 14. It may be less. What progress has happened? You have not been able even to keep a synchronicity between man's physical age and his psychological age, and you call your world a civilized world where everybody is retarded. But these retarded people are needed by the politicians, by the priests, by all the vested interests. Because if a man's intelligence also grows with his body, then he will not become just old. He will grow up. His old age will be a beautiful experience, and he will be able to drop all conditionings which have been forced upon him. But a retarded person cannot do that. he cannot even understand anything higher. He cannot understand Leonardo da Vinci. He cannot understand Kalidasa. He cannot understand Rabindranath Tagore. He cannot understand Lao Tzu. He can only understand third-rate newspapers, Oregonian. Yes, that he can understand. He can follow a man like Reverend Jim Jones. Only a retarded man can do that. It is not a surprise that Jim Jones' followers were all black. Of course, they are more retarded than the white people. Uneducated, they have lived in slavery for so long. Humiliated, they are not first-rate citizens. They have not been treated as human beings. If Reverend Jim Jones had all, not a single white man as his follower, those who died, committed suicide in Jonestown were retarded people. A man of intelligence would like to love, to live, to laugh. A great opportunity has been given by existence. He will like to drink out of it to the fullest. He would like to squeeze all that life contains. But Jim Jones convinced those fools to commit suicide. Of course, Christianity has the ultimate responsibility of it, because Reverend Jim Jones was an ardent Christian priest. And of course, the cross is the symbol of suicide. And the whole teaching of Christianity is not for living joyously. If Jesus can convince retarded people of Judea that when he will reach to God, soon after they all will follow him. He never defined how long is this soon. 2000 years have passed, the soon is still there. Jim Jones carried the logic to its very end. He said, why I should wait there and you should wait here? You die with me, so we all go together. He convinced those retarded people to commit suicide. Retarded people can be convinced for anything. Retarded people are being convinced to go to Vietnam to kill innocent people who have done no wrong to you. They can be sent anywhere, can be convinced to do anything. Japan had suicidal soldiers, a separate division. They will take the aeroplane full of bombs. The pilot knows he is not going to come back, but he is dying for his country. Only retarded people can be convinced to die for a country. What a country is. Where is Palestine? And for Palestine, people have been dying. Countries exist only on the map. The earth is one. That's why I say Rajneeshpuram is not in America, not in Oregon. This whole earth is ours. Rajneeshpuram is the capital of the whole world. We don't believe in nations. It is idiotic. What is the need of all these nations? Yes, a world government is needed, but not nations. Unless we create a world government, wars will continue, because these nations will go on fighting. India with Pakistan, China with India. The war will continue somewhere or else. The only way to stop war is not what the pacifists go on doing, carrying posters and processions. There are few people who enjoy it. It is good exercise. And they are boiling because of discontent. So it is good way to shout slogans. It releases something in them. But these pacifists are not going to stop the war that is just on the horizon. Any moment, any chimpanzee can trigger it. Tomorrow is more uncertain than it has ever been. The next moment is more uncertain than it has ever been. Protest marches, slogans, this is not going to help. These people are exactly the same retarded people, just they are on the lower rung of the ladder. I have been watching these pacifists and their processions, their shouting and their slogans. It does not give the sense of peace. These are warmongers. Perhaps they are ready to fight for peace. There is only one way. Nations should disappear. They are an unnecessary burden on us. The world can easily be won. There is no need on the map of different colors. If the world dissolves the nations, whom you are going to fight? And if the world becomes a little more intelligent, and drops all religious nonsense, whom you are going to fight? And if you are not going to fight, there will be no Ethiopia. There will be no poor India. Because all your energy, all your money, all your resources are going into war efforts. They will be free. The whole humanity can live richly. People ask me what you are doing for Ethiopia. Whatever I am doing is not sending Ethiopia some bread, some butter. That is not going to help. In the first place, it is never going to reach Ethiopia. It will reach to the Christian missionaries. In the last year, they collected $15 million in America for Ethiopia. All has disappeared. It never reached Ethiopia. The same has happened before. Ethiopia has been in trouble for 4 years. In the name of humanity, service, these missionaries collect the money and swallow it. When last year the $15 million simply disappeared, it was inquired what happened. The Christian missionaries said they did not want to send the money to Ethiopian government. So they found a French agency to distribute the money, food, clothes to the starving Ethiopia. When the French agency was asked, they could not believe. They had never heard about these missionaries. Ethiopia will be there. More Ethiopias will be there tomorrow. Small efforts won't help. I don't believe by throwing a spoonful of sugar into the ocean to make it sweet. I'm not retarded. This Ethiopia, this India, the poor countries in the East, Africa, this is your doing. First you create it, and then you start talking about serving humanity. Why create the problem in the first place? Dissolve all the nations if you have any love for humanity, and dissolve all the religions if you have any respect for civilization. A civilized man cannot be a Christian, a Jew, a Mohammedan. He cannot be an American, he cannot be an Indian. A civilized man is simply man. And if wars disappear, the world will not need priests to persuade you that blessed are the poor. Because there will be nobody who is poor. Then the priest will not be able to distract your mind towards heaven. Because we can make the heaven on this very earth. If God has thrown out Adam and Eve, do tit for tat. Throw him out. We will make the Garden of Eden here. Let him beg to come in. Why you should pray and beg that we should be accepted when we can create paradise here? But these politicians, these priests, go on diverting your energies. They are diverting science towards war. Now science has come to a point that it can make this earth so beautiful, so comfortable, so lovable, that there will be no Jonestown, nobody would like to commit suicide. It is a scientific research that man's body has an inner capacity to go on renewing itself. Of course, for 70, 80 years, and in rich countries for 100 years, and in some countries even to 200 years, the body remains young. Just we have to put our scientific intelligence in the service of life. Up to now it has been in the service of death. Man can live forever on this earth. There is no need to search for an eternal home beyond death. That is just a consolation to you. But if you can be as blissful as they have been depicting people in paradise, naturally you won't take any interest in their Bibles, in their Qurans and Gitas. You will not go to confess your sins, because there is no sin. Just people need more understanding. People need more life to them, more wisdom to them, more clarity. They don't need to be forgiven. You have not done anything wrong. You have been doing only one thing wrong. You have been following idiots. God, who does not exist, may forgive you. I cannot forgive you for that. Okay, Sila.